Hey, what's up? Coach Jesse Minch here with GetHandles.com. Got another basketball myth debunked for you today. Today's myth debunked is your dribble height. Now, one thing that you will often hear coaches and trainers and just people in general talk about is dribble height and how when you dribble the basketball, always keep it to the hips or lower, right? And while to some degree I agree with this, there are certain situations where you're going to want to do this. I don't necessarily feel like you have to do this in a lot of situations. I think the key to keep in mind is getting in this wide low stance. And I think what happens is when a lot of players dribble low and keep the ball below their hips, they tend to keep their hips and their knees bent and lower, which is crucial for you being able to move quickly, protect the basketball, explode in one direction and whatnot. Being in that low athletic stance is going to allow you to be more effective in the game in general. Now, dribble height, people always will say by dribbling the ball high, you're asking it to get the ball stolen. And my question to you is why? A defender, reaching low, it might be hard for them to reach the ball all the way down here, but even if they're in an upright stance, they can still reach right down to your knee, right? So even if you're dribbling here, they can still have time to get into the basketball. Having them reach up here is going to be just as hard as having them reach down here, number one. So even if you're dribbling the ball way up by your shoulder here, which if you watch a lot of NBA players, they will do this often in games. Watch guys like Rajon Rondo, Chris Paul will do it from time to time, Kyrie Irving. And I'm not saying they do this every single time they dribble the basketball, but there are definitely situations when they do. And the reason I don't think it's hurting them is because this comes back to one of my older basketball myths videos on high ball and hand time. And by having high ball and hand time, whenever the hand is in your basketball, you have full control to maneuver that basketball and move it around. Now, if you're dribbling the basketball higher, notice how much higher of a high ball and hand time you have versus if I dribble it here, right? When the ball is hips lower, knee lower, yeah, it's great to work on that, and it's great to have that kind of control, and it allows you to go in your moves more quickly. But you could still move the basketball plenty while the ball is up high, right? I mean, if I wanted to, if I'm dribbling the ball up here, I could go into a fake inside out, into a behind the back. If I try to do that from down here, it's a lot harder without carrying the basketball. By having the dribble come up higher, you're increasing the amount of time the hand is in the basketball in each dribble, right? And like we talked about, when the hand is in the basketball, you can move it. So it allows you just as many options to move the basketball, if not more, when you're dribbling it higher. On top of that, not only will you give yourself opportunities to move the basketball in space, but you're giving yourself opportunities to move your feet in space a little bit more freely. And that's one thing that I really want to hone in on, is that when you're playing basketball, dribbling the ball is all about protecting it. People like to think often about moves as, oh, he used this move between the legs to get past his defender. No, he didn't. He used his feet to get past the defender. If I do this, is anyone moving? Probably not. If I do this, is someone moving? Probably. Notice the difference was my foot moving. When you have the ball up a little higher, it allows you more options for moving your feet, right? Now, I wouldn't recommend, once again, dribbling the ball high at all times if you got a defender right up on you. But if you're being smart about it, if you're shading your defender, there's nothing wrong with it. You can give yourself plenty of opportunities to still move the basketball as long as your hand is on the ball a high amount of the time. If you're dribbling it up high like this, yeah, you might have a problem. If you're dribbling it like this, you can still move it quickly. The other thing to keep in mind is if you're dribbling the basketball up high here and a defender tries to steal the ball up here, that means that they're going to have to get into an upright position to try to reach and steal that basketball. And everyone knows a good defender that's trying to move quickly stays in this low athletic stance, correct? If a defender's coming up here to reach for a basketball, it's making it easier for you to drive past them. They've gotten out of that low athletic stance, you'll be able to get past them really quickly, and they're not in position to stay in front of you. And then finally, you also want to think about the spacing of where your defender is and what you're going to need to do to get past them. Since a lot of players play low and low to the ground, in a lot of situations, if they're low here ready to steal your low crossover dribble, your best option might be to dribble high and over the top of that, over their crossing over that arm, coming high and keeping it here while they're down low. A lot of defenders are going to wait and play in a certain space, if that makes sense. You know, they'll play in this sort of range here where they're going to try to get after the ball. So bringing it up here in situations can give you an advantage. And then finally, once again with this, I want to invite you to really watch some of the best ball handlers in the game. You watch guys like Kyrie Irving. There's plenty of times where he'll bring the ball up to about shoulder height. Rajon Rondo, Allen Iverson, when he crossed up Michael Jordan, he was in his low athletic stance, but he sure brought that ball up pretty high for that crossover, almost to shoulder height. Watch Tony Parker on his throw cross, right? Just because the ball is up high doesn't necessarily mean it's going to get stolen. It just means if you have to be smart and use having that ball in your hand, having that control smartly to react and move it where the ball needs to go to keep the defender from stealing the basketball, and using it as an aid to help fake in your crossovers, or using it as an aid to get into a space where your defender isn't. So Coach Jesse Minshew with GetHandles.com. Make sure you head over to GetHandles.com. I got a free full ball handling workout that will instantly improve your entire game and your ball handling ability. Just pop in your email. I will send that to you instantly, once again for free. No credit card required or anything like that. If you found this video helpful, make sure you hit the subscribe button. If you found these tips helpful and you're going to give them a try, hit the subscribe button. I'll have a lot more basketball myths debunked, things to help you with that. And leave a comment down below what your thoughts are. You know, if you've noticed this in NBA players in general, and this kind of taboo thing of dribbling the ball high not necessarily being true. Or even if you disagree, leave a comment down below. Also, share this with some friends that you think might find this tip helpful. Help you guys improve your game. And if you even have a friend that maybe disagrees with this whole thing, maybe share it with them and see what their 2 cents is on it. And see if they think any of my points make sense, or maybe they still disagree. And they can leave a comment down below as well. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more.